Welcome to Gavels Down, Voices Up with me, Rachel King. This is where we leave convention at the courtroom door and dive into your real stories, bold and unpopular opinions, and change-making ideas that really shake the legal world up and change where change is desperately needed. I'm here to shake it up, talk about unfiltered insights, and amplify voices that need to be heard. So are you ready? Let's get it. Put the gavels down and the voices up. Today, we're going to be delving into the intersection of celebrity lives and the legal system. Well, okay, let me clarify. We're not actually talking about all the criminal law and all the fun. I don't want to say it's fun, but it sure is interesting to learn about the crimes that celebrities find themselves in. Today, we're going to talk about the drama and the legal system. We're talking all about celebrity divorces. Now, this is popular because throughout, probably since the beginning of time, celebrity and their relationship drama is so fascinating, right? That is where the basis of reality television came from. And we've seen many celebrities go through divorces. Some are great, clean, quick, and some of them are like the example of what not to do and could turn into their own lifetime television drama. But today we're talking about this, one, because it's fascinating, but two, because of the Sophie Turner and Jonas separation and divorce. And you know what? I want to say that while we have all eyes on the celebrities through this, and wow, are we quick to judge them, take a moment and think about how devastating divorce is on its own. There are many statistics that say going through a divorce is one of the top 5 most stressful things that an individual will go through in their life. So we're talking one of the most stressful things. Throw some kids involved, and oh my gosh, is there anything that hurts more than watching your children have to go through something like this? And blasting it all over the news with random people that don't know you chiming in on how dare you do this or what's right or oh my gosh, I can't imagine a worse scenario. So let's take a moment and say to all of the celebrities, everybody in the limelight that has had their personal divorce or separation get torn apart and nitpicked by all of us, I am so sorry. I think you all are doing great. I actually have not seen a celebrity divorce that caused me to say, wow, that is so bad, the worst thing I've ever seen. Hands down, some of the things that I've witnessed privately, in court, in family law, are so much more vile and worse and dramatic than what we witness through TMZ and all of the gossip columns with regard to celebrity divorces. But I just think we should all say, oh my gosh, they're doing the best job. They're doing the best that they can, given that we have all eyes on them. I think actually, for the most part, they do a pretty darn good job of holding themselves together and presenting their story in the divorce process for all to see. So let's talk about Sophie and Joe. Miss Turner and Mr. Jonas, they were not married for very long. We are talking what I would consider a short-term marriage, 4 years. They have 2 children. And it doesn't seem, now we don't know all the details. We're just learning what we get from the news, but it doesn't seem that there was anything catastrophic, right? It seems that there was an issue with where they were going to live. Was it going to be the US? Maybe there was some discussions about moving to England and having England be their home residence. Then it sounds like Joe Jonas had a tour that he had to go on, and he took the kids out of England and went back to the States. There was a party, there was an argument. The next thing we know, there's a divorce, and Sophie is filing for custody. That's pretty quick. And I would say based on that, we don't know a whole lot. Because man, if I filed for divorce every time my husband and I got in an argument at a party, we'd be divorced like 30 times over. That being said, I think there's probably more to the story. I actually respect Sophie and Joe quite a bit for not getting into all of the details and for deciding not to provide the ins and outs of it, mostly because it's really not our business. But two, yeah, you have young kids, but one day your kids are going to get older and older and older. And if you're out there word vomiting all of this stuff about the divorce details, they're going to find out about it. And not going to be good. That's actually kind of great that we don't know all of the details. But here's something I really am excited about when I was learning about Sophie and Joe and how they were handling this is that they filed for divorce. Sophie sued for custody. Oh, that's devastating, probably to Joe, right? And yet the two sat down and reached an agreement. Albeit temporary, the fact is they were able to sit down and reach an agreement. And if you have two celebrities who are living in totally different countries, right, England and the US, and you're still able to reach a temporary custody agreement, again, hats off. We should all be learning something from Sophie and Joe, and actually all of the celebrities that are able to reach agreements. Agreements are best. And I'm a strategic litigator, so I love going to trial. But here's the thing. In family law, while I go to trial quite a bit in family law, it's better if you can reach an agreement. Why? Because the court gets about this many facts, maybe more than we're getting from the news, but they don't get all of the details. They don't know the history, and they're trying to make huge decisions that the judge never has to live with. The attorneys don't have to live with it. The friends don't have to live with it. The court doesn't have to live with it. You know who does? Joe and Sophie and their children. So if they can come together and reach an agreement, they're the ones that have to live with it. It's going to give a sense of control. But overall, hopefully they're able to reach an agreement that they can both tolerate and live with. All right, so they reach an agreement. And I'm really proud of them. And I'm really proud, again, of even the non-celebrities that are able to do this. Let's explore what happens when personal matters like divorce become a public spectacle and some of the unique challenges. I've talked about this a little bit, but there are so many added pressures and complexities when it comes into the public eye. In a divorce, like I've said before, you have the division of debt, the division of assets, the child custody, and the support. Those are already really stressful. Now you add all of the people that have their eyes on this. You have all of the companies that want to make money, right? The paparazzi that want to make money on their drama. And you have so many people knowing what is going on and potentially setting them up really in a very intimate environment and getting details that they shouldn't know. There are so many complexities simply because they're celebrity. What's another one? There's a lot of money involved typically if you are a celebrity. Hopefully, you're a celebrity that is doing well financially. When we're talking about assets and debt division, maybe there's a premarital agreement. Many celebrities have premarital agreements in place before because they come in with assets, but they're still working during the marriage. They're still going off and doing tours or making movies or whatever the case may be. So if it's a marital asset, is that covered in the premarital agreement? Is it not? Are we going to be arguing over it? So the division of assets can come into play. But again, in many celebrity divorces, we are going to be looking at whether there is a premarital agreement and how that's going to play out. Simply having a premarital agreement in itself is like a big thing to deal with. Now we're going to divide assets, debts, child custody, and support. I actually don't know, and I'd be interested to hear how much support comes into play and gets argued in celebrity divorces. We see a huge amount of drama in the standard non-celebrity divorce over child support. But when people have the amount of money that many celebrities do, is support an issue or is it not an issue? I don't actually think that's going to be as big an issue as some of the other things that are going to go on. Maybe one of the most difficult things in a divorce is the fact that everything becomes public record. So celebrities already are out there and they're doing everything they can in most cases to keep some kind of semblance of privacy, but then it's all blown in the court system and we get to see it. Family law cases are public record. I guess you can do with it what you will with that information, but I think that's kind of hard, especially when you're in celebrity. Is somebody going to go and take the declaration that you filed in support of child custody and visitation and blast it all over? Now, what are you going to do with it? How's that going to affect your career? So that is a big concern. Maybe that's why a lot of them reach agreements, is because they're like, hey, let's keep it a secret. Who knows? One of the things that I think is also a huge factor, and I touched on it a little bit earlier, is this idea of children in a divorce, in a celebrity divorce. Kids are impacted so severely through a divorce. And I want to interject real quick. Kids are very resilient. So your child is very likely going to be okay at the end, even if it was a struggle of a divorce, because they're resilient. But to the extent that as parents, we can mitigate some of that and have them not go to therapy 100% because of us, maybe we're only responsible for 20% of their therapy needs, would be great. And one of the things that I've noticed as a child of divorce, but also as an attorney that does family law, is how a parent talks about another parent really, really affects a child, because children can't help but love both parents, right? As they get older, maybe they learn things, but kids love their parents. If you love somebody and you can't help it, can't help but love your mom, and all you hear is somebody in the background saying bad things about this person that you love, that is devastating. Now add on that the person that's in the back here parroting bad things is somebody else you love, and this is horrible. So when we're talking about very, very notorious or big or publicized divorces with children, the kids are really being affected not only by what the parents are doing, but by all of the actions of the media. And I think as the parents that are going through it, they need to be extra aware of what they're saying, because it's going to go back. Little Sammy at school might come up and be like, oh my gosh, I saw that TMZ said X, Y, and Z about your mommy or your daddy. Like, oh, they don't need that. So the impacts really, really, I think, are hard for parents, celebrities that have children going through divorce. So I think if we can give them a little bit of space and grace, that is probably the best thing that we can do for celebrity or children of celebrities. And now for a quick break. This episode of Gabbles Down, Voices Up is proudly brought to you by King Law Firm, Attorneys at Law Incorporated. We're not just about winning cases, we're about making a difference. Whether it's family law, probate litigation, or standing up against elder abuse, we bring experience, empathy, and excellence to the courtroom. At King Law Firm, we're more than lawyers. We're your team, in your corner, advocating for your rights and making your voice heard. Visit us at thelawyerking.com and on the socials at The Lawyer King to see how we can fight for you and with you. King Law Firm, Attorneys at Law Incorporated, where your fight becomes our fight. Now let's get back to today's episode. I'd also like to say that infidelity doesn't matter in divorce cases, in most cases. Most states, including California, are no-fault divorce, and an affair is considered like a cause of a divorce, right? Cheating, but nobody's going to get punished for it. Maybe at best there's some money that has to be paid because you used some of the marital earnings to get a hotel room or fly your mistress across the country. But I think at least from what I see, there's a lot of infidelity that goes through some of the celebrity relationships. That's not going to matter in their divorce. One of the things that I think is fascinating too is that almost the more money and the more notoriety and fame that celebrities have, the quieter and faster their divorces are handled. Why? Maybe because money isn't quite as issue. Maybe because they've got some little secret stories that are unlikely to be put out if it was me, a nobody's divorce, but because it's them, it's going to be big and they want to just wrap it up in a nice, neat little package. Some of the celebrity divorces are so fast and so seamless that it's in the news one day and then you never hear about it the next, except that you know that they're divorced. Do you know any of those people? I do. I've seen them. And actually, I am willing to bet that because some of these celebrities have so much money, the Bezoses, they hire attorneys and they can certainly afford to fight it out, but they don't. They pick their battles very carefully and they wrap up their divorce quickly. If only we could all learn to divorce like this. I'm not saying we take all of the things that celebrities do and run with them because, man, some of them are not necessarily good role models, but how they handle divorce for the most part is really great. On the flip side, we have like the Kanyes, and shout out to Kanye. I have a mug that says that I am as confident as Kanye, and it warms my heart every time I drink coffee out of it. But I will say that some of the things that Kanye said during his divorce process, if I was the attorney, I'd be like, oh goodness. And I would drop my head and I'd say, please don't do that again. I tell my clients, you can go and say whatever you want in your own head and to your best friend, all outside of the voices and ears of other people, but keep it there. Don't put it on social media. Don't go public with it. Don't start saying all of these horrible things, because it's going to come back and it's going to bite you, whether you're Kanye or you're just a regular person going through a divorce process. If you put it on the internet, you put it out in public, it's going to appear in your divorce proceeding, and probably not in a good way. Custody and visitation, when we're talking about celebrities, again, we're talking very, very famous people that not only have the limelight all over their kids, but they also travel and have to go and act in different countries, maybe put on performances in other countries. They have a pretty grueling schedule when they're working. So how does custody and visitation look there? We're trying always in custody and visitation, whether it's a celebrity or is non-celebrity, to get the kids the most time possible with both of their parents. That's truly important and the goal. That's hard on the best days when we have mom and dad that both work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. How do we get them both the most amount of time with their kids? But you add in celebrities that are hopscotching around the world for different times at different periods. Oh my goodness, trying to get the kids with them and do school. This can be quite a challenge. So again, I'm all about hats off in this one, that they are able to reach temporary agreements. Sophie and Joe, I hope you are able to turn your temporary agreement into a full agreement, and that this does not have to define the rest of your life and your children's lives. So with that, let's respect our celebrities going through divorces. Let's learn from them, take away the good, disregard the bad, but identify it. And remember that no matter the scale of your divorce, whether you were married in Vegas and the next day you filed for divorce and there's nothing that came from it, you've been married for 50 years, your children are grown, you were married for 10 years and you have $100 billion that needs to be divided, or 10 kids, or alcohol, or drugs, or fame, or whatever the case may be, all divorces are drama. And if agreements can be reached, that's the best. Keep people out of your business, know your rights, and try and reach an agreement that's going to work best for you and the other person, so you can both move forward as successfully as possible. I'm so interested in your thoughts on celebrity divorces. In fact, as I talk about them, there's certain ones that just keep coming to mind. I said Kim and Kanye. I think the Bezos divorce always comes to mind. The Gates divorce comes to mind. The Schwarzenegger divorce comes to mind. I would be so interested in the divorces that don't come to the top of my mind, that you think are crazy maybe what not to do, or that we're in and out of the news so fast that they wrapped it up in a nice little package and we didn't get to get the drama. My name's Rachel King. Reach out with your challenges, and next week we're tackling estate planning, not just for the wealthy. We just talked about celebrities. Chances are they all have estate plans. And actually, side note, I heard they have estate plans so that they can hide all of the children they have with other people. Oh, I don't know if that's true. I just heard that. Probably not true, but who knows? All right, so next week we're tackling estate planning, not just for the rich and the famous, but also how to protect your assets for your legacy. Thanks for tuning in to Gavels Down, Voices Up. Like what you heard? Then don't just sit there. Subscribe, share, and tell me your thoughts. I'm Rachel King, bringing not just my opinions to the mic, but about the courtroom too. Your part, keep listening, keep engaging, and until next time, let's keep those gavels down and our voices up. Unmistakably up.